Have you ever wondered how the federal bank impacts your daily life and the economy as a whole? It might not be something you think about over your morning coffee, but the federal bank plays a significant role in shaping our economic landscape. So let's dive into the fascinating world of the federal bank. Imagine it as the heart of our economy. Just as the heart pumps blood throughout the body, the federal bank pumps money throughout the economy. It's responsible for managing the country's money supply, that is, the total amount of currency circulating within our economic system. But how does it do that? Well, it's a bit like adjusting the tap of a water tank. If the federal bank wants to increase the money supply, it opens the tap a bit more, injecting more money into the economy. Conversely, if there's too much money flowing around, it closes the tap slightly, reducing the money supply. This careful balancing act is crucial to maintaining a healthy and stable economy. Another key function of the federal bank is controlling inflation. Now, inflation is like that uninvited guest at your party who eats all the snacks. If left unchecked, it can eat away the value of your money. So, the federal bank steps in to keep inflation under control. It does this by adjusting the interest rates, making borrowing more or less attractive, which influences how much money people spend or save. And speaking of interest rates, they're like the temperature knob on your shower. The federal bank sets these rates, deciding how costly it will be for banks to borrow money. Higher rates mean borrowing is expensive, which cools down economic activity. Lower rates, on the other hand, encourage borrowing and heat up the economy. So, in a nutshell, the federal bank plays a crucial role in maintaining the economic stability of our country. It's like the conductor of an orchestra, subtly adjusting the tempo to keep the music, or in this case, the economy, playing harmoniously. But what exactly is inflation, and why does the federal bank strive to control it? Well, imagine you've been saving up to buy a fancy new gadget that currently costs $200. After a year of saving, you finally have the cash. But when you go to buy it, you discover the price has risen to $210. That's inflation in action, the general increase in prices, and fall in the purchasing value of money. Inflation can be a tricky concept to grasp, but it's essentially a measure of how much the price of goods and services increases over time. When inflation is high, the cost of living rises, and your money doesn't stretch as far. A simple loaf of bread that cost $1 last year might cost $1.10 this year. That's why inflation can eat into your savings and your income. The federal bank, also known as the central bank, plays a significant role in managing inflation. Its goal is to maintain price stability, which is crucial for a healthy economy. If prices skyrocket, people may not be able to afford basic necessities, and if prices plummet, businesses may not be able to cover their costs. The federal bank uses a variety of strategies to keep inflation under control. One of the main tools is adjusting the interest rate. When the federal bank raises the interest rate, it becomes more expensive to borrow money, which can slow down spending and investment and help to reduce inflation. On the other hand, if the federal bank lowers the interest rate, borrowing becomes cheaper. This can encourage spending and investment, which can stimulate the economy and potentially increase inflation. Inflation doesn't just affect the economy on a large scale, it also impacts our day-to-day lives, from the cost of your morning coffee to the price of your home. It's the federal bank's job to keep inflation in check, ensuring that our money retains its value over time. Thus, controlling inflation is a key responsibility of the federal bank, directly impacting our day-to-day lives. Another important function of the federal bank is managing the money supply. But what does that mean? Well, the money supply refers to all the currency and other liquid instruments in a country's economy as of a particular time. The money supply can include cash, coins, and balances held in checking and savings accounts. Economists analyze the money supply and develop policies revolving around it through controlling interest rates and increasing or decreasing the amount of money flowing in the economy. Now you might wonder, how does the federal bank manage this money supply? The federal bank, or the central bank, has several tools at its disposal. When the federal bank wants to increase the money supply, it buys government securities. This purchase gives the banks more money, which they can lend out to businesses and individuals. This process is known as open market operations. On the other hand, when the federal bank wants to decrease the money supply, it does the opposite. It sells government securities, effectively taking money out of the economy and reducing the amount available for banks to lend. Changes in the money supply can have significant impacts on the economy. An increase in the money supply can stimulate economic growth by making more funds available for businesses to expand and hire more workers. However, if not managed carefully, it can also lead to inflation, where the prices of goods and services rise. Conversely, a decrease in the money supply can slow economic growth. Fewer funds are available for businesses to borrow, which can lead to a slowdown in expansion and hiring. However, this can also help control inflation by slowing down the rise in prices. Therefore, by managing the money supply, the federal bank can influence the overall health of the economy. It's a delicate balancing act, one that requires careful monitoring and adjustment to ensure a stable and prosperous economic environment. Now let's talk about interest rates. How does the federal bank set them, and why does it matter? Interest rates are a key tool in the financial toolbox of the federal bank. They are the rates at which money can be borrowed or saved and play a significant role in our everyday lives. Whether you're taking out a loan for a new car, saving for your child's education, or investing in a business venture, interest rates will likely be involved. Let's break this down. When you borrow money, you're required to pay back the original amount known as the principal, plus an additional percentage. This extra percentage is the interest. On the flip side, when you save or invest money, the bank or investment firm pays you an interest rate for the use of your money. The federal bank, often referred to as the central bank, plays a crucial role in setting these rates. It sets the benchmark rate, also known as the federal funds rate, which is the rate at which commercial banks lend to each other overnight. This rate influences the interest rates banks offer to their customers. If the federal bank raises the benchmark rate, borrowing money becomes more expensive, encouraging people to save more. Conversely, if it lowers the rate, borrowing becomes cheaper, which can stimulate spending and investment. Why does the federal bank alter interest rates? The answer lies in its dual mandate: to maintain price stability and to ensure full employment. By adjusting the interest rates, the federal bank can control inflation and stimulate economic growth. If the economy is overheating, with prices rising too fast, the federal bank might increase interest rates to cool things down. If the economy is sluggish, with high unemployment, it might lower rates to stimulate activity. As you can see, the federal bank's decisions on interest rates can have a ripple effect throughout the economy. From your personal savings account to the nation's overall economic health, these rates play a vital role. As you can see, interest rates set by the federal bank can directly affect your personal finances. So, how does all of this affect you as an individual? You might be thinking, I'm not an economist or a banker. Why should I care about the federal bank? Well, the truth is, whether you're a student, a retiree, a small business owner, or a homemaker, the federal bank's actions touch your life in significant ways. Let's start with your purchasing power. The federal bank's policies on inflation directly influence how much bang you get for your buck. When the federal bank controls inflation effectively, your dollar stretches further. You can buy more groceries, fill your car with more gas, and maybe even splurge on that new gadget you've been eyeing. But if inflation spirals out of control, you might find that your hard-earned money doesn't go as far as it used to. Next, consider your savings. Interest rates set by the federal bank affect how much your savings grow over time. When interest rates are high, your money works harder for you in savings accounts or certificates of deposit. But when interest rates are low, your savings might not grow as quickly as you'd like. Now let's talk about investments. The federal bank's decisions can sway the stock market, affecting the value of your retirement fund or your kids' college savings plans. Understanding the federal bank's role can help you make more informed decisions about when to buy or sell stocks. Finally, if you're a homeowner or looking to become one, the federal bank's policies impact mortgage rates. When the federal bank lowers interest rates, it can be a great time to buy a house or refinance your mortgage. But when rates rise, you might find home ownership more expensive than you anticipated. In conclusion, the federal bank plays a pivotal role in our economy, and understanding its functions can empower us to make better financial decisions. After all, we're all players in this grand economic game, and knowledge is the best tool we have to play it wisely.